Well, hello again. This is the hometown historian, John Miller, with this awesome channel that you guys have helped make so successful so far. Today, we're going to take a drive through Indiantown Gap National Cemetery. This place means a lot to me because this is where my dad is actually buried. He was a World War II vet, served in the Marine Corps in the Pacific. This is just an absolutely beautiful place. And I have to say, for the staff and everybody that takes care of this place, this is truly hallowed ground. This is the last resting place of so many who had faithfully served our country and were willing to pay the ultimate sacrifice. And I'm sure there probably are some here that did pay that sacrifice. I think most people are usually the people that made it home, like my dad. But I do give a special shout out to two of my friends, Bill and John, who are two of the guys that take care of the maintenance of the property, and just they really need to be proud. Like, I think this is a heavily awarded military cemetery as well because of what a phenomenal job that they do. But it's just so neat going here along the main stretch, just having all these flags here, and then they have the state flags. And it's just a beautiful area. I do want to try to make a stop. The PA Veterans Memorial is that way. I'll pan over, but I'm basically going to do a drive-through because, as some of you are probably aware, I sort of messed up my back a little bit. It's probably due. That's the Pennsylvania Memorial there. I would like to get out and go in there and do some filming because there's some really cool architecture there, some very poignant statements there, and it's just a beautiful place. Cliff and I had done a video here, and I would like to also stop by my dad's grave, but basically this is going to be a drive-through because my neck really is hurt today. I'm probably going to have to eventually go to a chiropractor because it's getting to the point where it's getting a little unbearable. But anyways, it's sort of how things are. I'm thankful I'm where I'm at, though, because considering towards the beginning of the year of everything I went through, I shouldn't even be alive. So very thankful for the blessings that I have. These places here are cool. They're the internment shelters. When my dad was buried out here, we were down more towards where the offices are, but beautiful services, and there's nothing like hearing taps. And when I was handed the flag and the soldier said on behalf of a grateful nation, that's where I started to lose it a little bit. And then when they played taps and then, the shots as well, it sort of goes through you. The way they do it here, the guys that volunteer, one of my friends, Eric, does that he goes and they're the, I guess the honor guard, if you call it's probably the wrong term, but they really do give honor. And these men and women that served our country, and it's not just like for here in America, our soldiers, but you think about all the boys of Britain, the Battle of Britain and Dunkirk, and everything that they did, everything that they went through in the Pacific as well. The men of France, every single one of these countries, Canada, the boys that stormed Normandy, the honor that these men and women deserve for serving our country, that we can be free. Truly, where they're buried, these types of places, they're hallowed ground, and they deserve the ultimate respect. And it's just such a beautiful place. Like a lot of these areas here, like my dad's area, he's in area 27. They're flat stones, and you'll get to see that when I go stop by my dad's memorial. But then you have these areas over here where they have the upright stones. And there's just something beautiful. I always talk about cemeteries being serene, but these military cemeteries like this, there is a serenity. And you think about the warfare that these individuals went through, and this is the perfect place for them to be laid to rest. A lot of them, everything that they went through, they struggle for life. The PTSD and all those other things. I mean, the sacrifice sometimes is you see what's on the surface, but you don't see what they're going through, the things that no person should have ever seen. And and that's something that sticks with him. I talked to my dad, like, he never saw combat, but he was in areas where he saw a lot of things. He had friends that died, and it just really is a beautiful place. It's a place to come to remember. It's a place to come to acknowledge what these men and women gave for our country. And I have a friend, Michelle, that her and her family come out here every single year, and it really is one of those things that you appreciate, that she and her husband are teaching their children the value and the importance of acknowledging these individuals and everything that they gave. And it just it really is, it's such a neat place. It's definitely one of those places, if you're in the area, like the Pennsylvania area, this is definitely a place to stop. They have these all over the place, but this, like I said, this is one of the most celebrated just because of how beautifully it's taken care of. And every single one of these places deserves the utmost respect. So, like I said, I just want to do a drive through. This is something that I wanted to do. I would love to do at some point, do a walk through, but like right now is just sort of impossible for me to do. We're gonna go around here just quick. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to go that way, actually. It's probably one way, so we're not gonna do that. But yeah, I actually had the privilege of Jim, the guy that I work for. We were able to come out here. They were in need of getting a landscape company out to do one of the internment shelters, and it was just one of those, I use the word surreal a lot, but you were here and they'd had the funerals going on that day, and every now and then you'd hear the taps go, and you'd sort of pause, and it was one of those things that was different. There's just something. We'll head around again at some point because my dad's is down that way, but I want to go. I don't think I've ever actually been up this way, but it really is a place that makes you think. Every single one of these people had a story. They were out there, and they put themselves on the line, and there's something to be said about that, because it's my dad's story was that World War II, those guys, as soon as they got to like 17, 18, they just volunteered. It just naturally volunteered. That was just what you did. And there were a lot of towns, these small towns, where guys were 4F, where they weren't healthy enough to go, and they actually committed suicide because they felt like they were letting everybody down. They weren't. They had no choice. But my dad got rejected the first time because he had a hernia. I think he even went a second time and got rejected. So he decided, okay, I'm not going to be able to go. I'm going to go get surgery. So he actually went and got surgery on his hernia so that he would be able to serve. And even then they said, we really probably shouldn't accept you, but because we're so desperate right now for troops, we'll bring you in. And he made it through boot camp, but I think 3 of his 4 closest friends got killed in different battles. And he said that at the end of boot camp, when they graduated, the drill sergeant, he had been in World War I, and he had served some in World War II as well, and he was a tough guy, scary guy, really intimidating. He actually started to cry because he knew a lot of those guys weren't going to be coming home. It's just amazing, like how you look straight down through and everything, how straight it is. And it's just, it's just one of those places that's just so impressive. But we will sneak around again. I want to make sure we're going the right direction and we're not going the wrong direction, but we will stop. Maybe now we'll stop here because of the Pennsylvania Veterans Memorial. So I believe we're going to stop here now because I don't really plan on coming back around this direction. But I do want to go by like my dad's grave. But that was one of those things that I was so proud of my dad that he did that, because he didn't have to. But they have a war memorial out in Ravine where my dad was born, where he lived, and he's on that memorial. But there was a number of guys just in that small town that wound up dying, including my dad's best friend, Arthur Lengel. But we'll stop here for a second, and then we'll turn back on. Well, you know what? We're just going to shut off, and we're going to go out through here. Just make it easier. I'm still using my phone for this one just because it's a little easier for me. But I will be switching over to the new camera, hopefully this week. I just got to see what I can handle at this stage, because just not moving terribly fantastic right now. But anywho, so this is the Pennsylvania Veterans Memorial. I don't know if there was a building here at one point. I thought I had heard that there was, but I think that probably this is just all a structure that they built. Like I had said, Cliff and I had been here before to check it out, and because they hold on like Memorial Day, Veterans Day, special days like that for veterans and for our military. July 4th probably as well. They have like concerts here, because it's sort of like I don't want to say an auditorium, but it's a pretty neat place. And with the water flowing and just like I said, some of the sayings that they have on some of the stones here, it just is one of those things that it's a place that you should come and visit, especially as an American. And then they have like all along here, they have like the people that donated. It has to do with the military. It's just such a neat place. And right now, like, the breeze naturally comes through here, and it's just very calming, very respectful. Reminds me a lot of like the Flight 93 Memorial in a way. The Flight 93 Memorial is a different feel because something so tragic happened there, but it's just the calm, here, and what these people gave of themselves for us is just so impressive. But you just look around here, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful memorial to our men and women who gave so much for us. I just think the beauty of the water, like whoever designed this was brilliant. They really did a fantastic job. But this is something that always sort of stuck with me. And it had in perpetual remembrance. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to get my shadow out of there. But it's like they still march, but their footsteps make no sound. They still serve, but they do not answer when their name is called. They shall not grow old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. It's just very, very poignant. I can only imagine how beautiful it is when they're playing music here, and it's just a really neat place. And just, you step back and just really think about what this place actually means. Like every single one of our freedoms. I know it's so easy sometimes for us to take our freedoms for granted, and to look at things like, this is how this is, and some of the things get so political, but there's nothing political about the people, the heroes that served our nation. Nothing political. These are extraordinary people who, they're just a different breed. And I would also include our first responders, like our police and our firefighters. These people that are willing to lay down their lives at a moment's notice for people that they don't know. There's something very, very special about this type of people. And they have the old saying that they talk about, you know, there's no love greater than that of a man that's willing to lay down their life for another. And it's a little different than that, but that's the general idea. It really is. It's a very beautiful love, a very selfless love. So this is the Pennsylvania Veterans Memorial. It's a beautiful place out here at Indiantown Gap. Very, very well worth coming out to see. So we're going to get back in the vehicle. We're going to drive around, and we're going to go back to Area 27 because I do want to stop by my dad's grave. And then there's a few other little areas we're going to drive through, but it's just a beautiful place, well worth coming to see. We'll get back in the has one viewer nicknamed it the Miller Mobile. We'll have to come up with a name because Cliff has his Jeep is Naomi. Had to come up with some kind of name so she feels special. Alright. I'm gonna reverse here and we're gonna head around the circle, and then we're gonna head back around one little area that we already went through, and then we'll stop by my dad's grave. And I think with my dad's grave, then we will end this video. But really is just an extraordinary place. It's hard not to, I don't know, it's hard to express, I guess you could say. It's hard to express sometimes what you're feeling in a place like this, because it means so many things to so many different people. So many folks' loved ones are here. This is a newer section here that they just added. But then they have these columbariums, which I believe those potentially maybe are more short term, because I have to look up the name of what it means. But I would assume like those are, like my dad got cremated. I would assume that they're holding people's ashes. 'Cause I do see every now and then when we go into our different adventures and visiting the different cemeteries, you will see the military markers like my dad's, which you'll see here, the ones that are flat. And you know, I guess at some point they decided, okay, we want to have the person buried at this place instead. And this here is the offices. They do have restrooms there, and there's the Pennsylvania Veterans Memorial that we were just at. But it's a beautiful place to just walk around. A lot of times, like this time of day, you're not going to see a whole lot of nature, like animals and whatnot. But I know when Cliffwood and I were here towards dusk, and there were just deer all over the place. There was one doe that was there, and that was really quite cool. You'll see turkeys here a lot, squirrels, birds. It's just a beautiful protected area that's here for people to come and reflect and really think about and also celebrate. But you know, one thing to keep in mind, like with any cemetery, I think most people get that, but this is a place where, that was one of the things they told us when we came here to work, is to be very quiet, be respectful, and you know, because especially on weekends, I'm not sure how much, but I know definitely on weekdays they have the military funerals. So just out of respect for those families having their funerals, it's not a place to be rambunctious or making a bunch of noise, because it's a really important, beautiful place. So it's quite the experience. It's quite a privilege to be able to come here. And I believe the scattering garden is where you can spread the ashes of your loved ones as well, depending on how they wanted their remains taken care of. I'm hoping I just went the right way. I might not have. I might have to do another little circle around, but oh, that's neat. This is new. Oh, it's under repair. See, there you can see some of how the stones are because it's not in the grass. I do believe we can make a right here because there are certain, like, there's pretty neat memorials. When Cliff and I did the video, can't do it right there. They did have a couple different memorials to, like, the Pacific campaigns. I believe they have one here as well to I'm gonna have to make another spin around because I took a wrong turn. I should have went right instead of left. I can do that right here, I believe. Yep. Sorry about that, folks. They do have markers here to tell you what areas are like they'll have burial sections 13 through 54, columbarium D, to just sort of help direct you. I should have been paying a little more attention, but they do have one to, I believe it's the submarine sailors. They do have a monument here to that. They have one for China campaign, which my dad served in. I think it was China and Burma. It's like that whole area of Asia. Guys that served there. Yeah, because this is, I want to make a right. Yeah, 18 through 54. So we'll wind up going through here again. But it's always just, I just love coming through here. It's just so beautiful. It really is a neat place. But we'll be coming up on, I think my dad's when you come around, because I had mentioned that you go left instead. This one here, I believe, is the one for the Pacific. In fact, we're going to quick stop here, just out of my dad's memory for the China and Burma campaign. And I have all these different, like, pathways through here that you can go and check out, but yeah, this is for China, Burma, and India, World War II, December 7th, 1941 through March 2nd, 1946, dedicated to the honor and memory of those men and women who served their country in the interest of freedom for all mankind. And then there's another one. Is when you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave our today. And they have one here for the Navy Seabees. And they have two, like, you can leave coins, and it has to do with the military service primarily. Like, depending on which coin you leave, means that you served with them in some retrospect. And like I think the larger of the coin means that you actually were with them when they died. So there's a number of different meanings there, and you'll see those coins left at the grave site or on the gravestone. It always intrigued me, like, what they all meant, but that's one of the unique things that you'll see sometimes in these military cemeteries. You can see them at the regular cemeteries, at the veterans grave sites. There is you can look it up and see what they mean. It's a pretty cool tribute to those individuals. But I think we are coming up here shortly where we'll make our left turn to go over to area 27, and then we will stop and we will walk up to my dad's grave, and I believe it's left right here. Yep. Area 27. I think area 27 is actually down a little further because this is not. No, this is area 27. Alright, cool. So, I'm gonna not talk a whole lot. We'll go over to my dad's grave, but because there's some other people here, I don't want to upset anybody. But I said before, my dad didn't have to serve, but he went through all the different getting a surgery so he could go and serve. Yeah, here he is. This is my dad, Paul Leonard Miller. Never really can't believe it. It's over 10 years since he passed away. But definitely say thank you to my dad for his service, and thank you to every single one of these other individuals. Well, with that, I believe we're going to say goodbye. But it is definitely one of those places, if you have a chance to visit and to remember the men and women who have given so much for our country. I have a number of other friends that their loved ones are buried here as well. My friend Eric, who is one of the guys that does the guard here at the funerals, his dad's actually buried here. One of the areas that we were filming, we happened to be filming right over, and I was like, I wonder if that's his dad. And it turned out that it was, and I believe we also saw one of my friend's mothers is buried here as well. Her husband served in the military, and so it's a very special place, an important place. It's a place to remember, a place to celebrate, and be thankful, most of all, for these individuals. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye to our next adventure, and we will see you about town. Thanks, everybody.